and welcome to Kent Tonight Live on KMTV. I'm Kristen Hawthorne and here are your top stories on Tuesday the 9th of December. Up in smoke, how one misplaced vape battery can ignite a much bigger problem.
They should just be banned. They should just be banned. It's just littering everywhere and, as I say, causing hazardous things. It's just not good, not good.
That's not me. With AI's influence on the social media era, how can you find fact from fiction?
And as it becomes more convincing, news organisations fall foul of it, and every time they do, that's another reason for people to trust the news less.
And caring this Christmas, we talk to Maidstone street pastors delivering Christmas joy and essential donations. Our top story this evening. Vape shops across Kent are ignoring rules requiring them to provide safe disposal services as concerns grow over the batteries causing fires. An investigation has found that many stores are only failing to provide a take-back scheme. Across Maidstone, Rochester, Gravesend, Tunbridge, Canterbury and Dartford, only 5 out of the 30 retailers inspected agreed to accept used vapes or batteries. Maisie Walker has more.
Shops in Kent are ignoring rules requiring them to provide safe disposal services as concerns grow over the batteries causing fires.
Inside a vape such as this one is a lithium battery, and if this is not recycled properly, it does pose the hazard of setting alight.
Experts from Material Focus, a not-for-profit organisation focused on electrical waste, estimate that roughly 10 million vapes were thrown away in Kent in 2024.
The whole risk kicks in when they go to the wrong place, which is into bins, so bins at home, public bins, sometimes incorrectly recycled with other recycling. So people think that they're doing the right thing, but in fact they're putting something that ends up being dangerous, because if it goes onto a waste truck or it's handled at a waste site and people aren't planning for vapes to be in there, then it's very likely that it will be compacted. And when it's compacted, it could break the shell, and that's when the problems come. So when the lithium cell is sort of damaged, it comes in contact with air or water, it can flame.
Across Maidstone, Rochester, Gravesend, Tunbridge, Canterbury and Dartford, only 5 out of the 30 retailers inspected agreed to accept used batteries or vapes. Many said they did not have to take returns, and when asked why, wrongly claimed they did not have to. In line with regulations, V&M Mobile and VX Exchange in Maidstone were one of the few stores to accept used batteries. I spoke to some local residents to find out whether there should be more awareness around the restrictions and how often they recycle.
As much as I can, yeah. You know, there is some occasions where, you know, I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere and have to just find the nearest kind of bin or whatever, but I do as much as I can.
They should just be banned. They should just be banned. It's just littering everywhere and, as I say, causing hazardous things. It's just not good, not good.
Because it's good to make the public aware about it so they can keep everyone safe, even those who vape about.
A spokesperson from Maidstone Borough Council said lithium batteries in waste bins create a serious fire and safety risk. Retailers selling vapes should have a provision for taking back used items, and the Kent County Council Household Waste Recycling Centres will be able to accept these items free of charge. Like all batteries, lithium ones can be a fire risk if they're damaged or thrown away with general waste. Mark Goslin from Kent Fire and Rescue Service said, "It is advised for everyone to recycle them properly at designated collection points rather than putting them in the bin. It's important to remember that once a lithium battery hits the bin, the danger doesn't disappear, it just begins somewhere else." Maisie Walker for KMTV, Maidstone.
Next, families of vulnerable pupils say they're relieved after teaching assistant Danushka Pulia was found guilty of child cruelty. The Maidstone Crown Court trial heard she pinched, hit and even spat at 4 non-verbal, highly vulnerable children between 2021 and 2023, leaving them with marks and long-term trauma. Parents described years of stress, frustration with the school's response and lasting damage to their children's trust. Pulia from iWade will be sentenced on February 6th and is banned from working with children or vulnerable adults in the meantime. Now, the sale of Broadstairs Memorial Hall, housing the Sarah Throne Theatre, has caught attention of Oscar-winning actress Judi Dench. As a trustee and the patron of the venue, Dame Judy was horrified by the sale and has backed a campaign against the auction plans by Kent County Council. Founder of the Sarah Thorne, Mr. Wheatley Ward, said he would have preferred the theatre to be moved to a trust, and campaigners feel the same, saying its 5-year lease will not be enough to ensure its future. The council had extended the period for offers, but said there were no viable proposals, meaning the auction will go forward on Thursday, December 11th. And now nearly 5,000 drivers have been fined after a new bus gate camera will be, what do we say? Finn is here with us now to tell us more about it anyway. So Finn,
yes.
How many people were caught by these cameras, and can you explain a bit about us for it?
Sure. So many people might not know what a bus gate actually is. It's essentially a stretch of road where only buses and taxis can go down.
Okay.
And these ANPR cameras were installed at either end of some of these roads to ensure that people weren't essentially cutting through roads just for buses and taxis. And it's like you were saying there, nearly 5,000 people have been fined over the course of a calendar year from October 2024 to October 2025. This is quite a lot, works out to nearly 100 people a week. And we can actually see some of the numbers here. These show the different bus gates where these penalties were given, the most by far being Beaver Road during these high traffic months from April to September. And these are some of those roads. You can see there those ANPR cameras being installed at a bridge between Godfrey Walk and Beaver Road, and between Sackville Crescent and Goddington Road. And this has earned Kent County Council a minimum, we estimate, of £169,000 from the scheme. They've said the rules aren't intended to be a revenue-generating scheme, and rather they simply want people to use this road less.
And what have locals in the area actually been saying?
Well, it's been sort of mixed opinion, really. Some people living on the road say the system isn't working. They say that it's actually creating more chaos than it is giving anything else, as cars still go along the road. But others have said it's made things slightly better. So the opinion is quite split.
And just quickly then, can you tell us about what the council have said as well?
Sure. Some of the councillors, such as Councillor Paul Bartlett, he's a Conservative councillor. He was chairman of Ashford Borough Council's Transportation Board when the cameras were installed. He says he believes they are doing their job. And he does acknowledge they do increase congestion around those areas, especially near the Ashford Designer outlet. That roundabout apparently can get quite congested. But they have reiterated the fact that this is not a revenue-making measure, and they are going to maybe have more enforcement as well. We heard that from the apologies there, the authority's parking and enforcement manager. There's going to be more ways of making sure that people do pay these fines and they are compliant with the restrictions about which roads you can and can't drive on within the area of Ashford.
All right, thank you, Finn, and you can find out more about that on Kent Online as well. Now, information has never been more accessible today in our pockets, with news, opinions and speculation. The rise of fake news and misinformation has drastically increased. Social media and how it platforms AI can make it difficult to separate the truth from fiction. Our reporter Marcellus Almazar has been investigating.
I get my news from TikTok and Twitter.
BBC News.
TikTok and Instagram.
The paper, Times. I use Kent Online a lot.
The Times.
We get the headlines read every day at work.
TikTok, Yahoo Finance or GB News.
Mainly social media.
Apple News.
With an influx of information coming from our phones, our TVs, and even through word of mouth, how are you meant to decipher which voices to listen to? I headed to the University of Kent to find out more.
A big part of this is driven by commercial factors. People are producing content using AI or fake news or creating distorted information in areas where they know they're going to get a lot of clicks. There was a picture of the Pope who had been doctored so it looked like he was wearing a giant white puffer jacket. And it was one of the first times that an AI-generated image had been so convincing the journalists were taken in by it. There were always telltale signs that a picture had been created. Less the case now, and as it becomes more convincing, news organisations fall foul of it, and every time they do, that's another reason for people to trust the news less.
With disinformation coming from everywhere, how is this attacking society's most vulnerable?
It is a major problem for those of us in the health service, because the effect of that is it's starting to drop vaccination rates, making people more reluctant to accept treatments, which are really very important. And that's despite the fact vaccination is one of the most successful things that we've come up with really in the history of medicine. because for a lot of diseases, it's the only way to present that disease. And if you look at the case of measles, for example, once you've got it, there's very limited treatment you can do. So stopping people catching it in the first place makes a big difference.
So what can we do to fight against this? I spoke to one organisation, Shout Out UK, arming young people with the tools to do exactly this.
The cost of creating mass disinformation campaigns has drastically decreased. It also means that you can pump out, false information quite quickly, quite effectively, and also make it look real. The professionalism of this information is definitely getting, for lack of a better term, better. Prevention is easier and cheaper than cure, right? So the idea that actually what we do is, rather than waiting for someone to potentially show signs of radicalization, we aim to give all young people critical thinking skills around understanding, what to look out for. How do algorithms work? Looking at kind of data manipulation and how that works. What are bot accounts? How to spot these things, but also understanding yourself. Quite often, whenever we speak to people about mis, or malinformation, people often assume, well, yeah, of course, like this is definitely something that exists, but it's not me. I'm not going to fall for it. Other people will, but it's not me. And the reality is that we all need to build our critical thinking skills.
So when you see or hear something online, make sure to check your sources to see if it's authentic, because not everything is always as it seems. Marcellus Almazar, KMTV.
More after this quick break. Hello and welcome back to Kent Tonight Live on KMTV. The Port of Dover is seeking new food and drink concessions at its Clock Tower Square, aiming to compete with the thriving Folkestone Harbour Arm. The port is offering fantastic plots for the 2026 season and says traders will have a chance to showcase their business in a prime waterfront spot, though units must be mobile and not standard catering vans. The move comes after some existing outlets closed due to tough conditions and amid concerns about low footfall. The initiative forms part of Dover's wider regeneration plans, including a new hotel and upcoming seafront apartments. And stick around on KMTV this evening for a Kent Tonight special airing at 7 o'clock, where we'll be looking at the current state of women's cricket in Kent, including how the county's women's side fared in their first season since being put on the second tier. We spent the day with club captain Megan Belt to get the inside track on how the club are getting on. Here's a preview.
Peppermint tea is meant to wake you up a bit more, so if I got a long day in training today, I have one, it should wake me up a little bit more. So I'm a big fan of hoops. Really exciting, isn't it? I'm not a massive breakfast eater in the morning, but yeah, I think just some cereal and nothing too big. I'm a big fan of having a big lunch and a big dinner. Our team now, where it's the new structure for women's cricket, we've got tier 1 and tier 2. We're tier 2. We were just thinking about getting a mortgage, and I hate to say about money, but the money that I would have earned as a professional cricket player wasn't enough to cover all of the mortgage that we were trying to get, whereas working as a teacher full-time, it is. Oh, he's a little bit more needy. I don't get much of a rest when I'm at home because he's just in your face a little bit. Good.
See you later.
So today's my really busy day actually. I normally get in a little bit earlier and plan my lessons and stuff, but I've already done that, so I didn't need to.
Teaching kids that are struggling with something and then making them better, I think for me that's the most rewarding thing.
Morning, that's Teacher Ari. I'm going to talk about the Christmas story and Bethlehem, and they're going to start drawing little pictures of Bethlehem and what they think it looked like back in the day.
Who can tell me what religion is the Christmas story? Flynn.
They're a really nice bunch of kids. Yeah, they're really engaged, and I think the Christmas story is just more, it's very magical, so I think for them they get very excited then about Christmas, and yeah, I love teaching it.
Well done. See you later.
Just finished Ari.
Come in, Rowan. Ordering fractions with the same denominator, okay? Being a captain, I've got to manage behaviour of the women's players, not as much as children in a classroom, but I think it's being disciplined, organised. They do really cross over, and having that sporting mindset, I think helps you understand children a little bit better. Yes! Woo! Yes, George.
Yeah, so just finished maths, really good maths lesson today. And then, yeah, on to driving to London for some more cricket training. I'm done for the day and now off to London for some Kent training, meeting up with the Kent women to train, so looking forward to it. It's taken about 2 hours today to get from Canterbury to Beckenham near London. So yeah, it's quite a late night for me. This is the training ground. It is the Kent training ground here. Hello, right.
The most rewarding thing I would say is after a long day, coming and doing something that you absolutely love and getting better at it as well. There's no better feeling, and just coming and seeing the girls, the squads, they're happy to see me, I hope. So yeah, I think that is the most rewarding thing. I'm just going to do parents' evening, finished training slightly earlier, so I need to do online parents' evening. I've got 4 appointments tonight. So yes, hopefully it all goes okay. I've got to try and make do and find, I might sit here and then put a little table there or something. So I think the parents might be a bit confused about it all, but... Hi. Hello. Hello. I do feel tired. I think when I get home, I sleep really well. So when I get home tonight, I will just go straight to bed. And not time for dinner tonight, actually. So I might just have to grab something on the way home, quick something to eat, or when I get home, make a sandwich or something.
You've got to commit if you want to be
high up in sport, you've got to make sacrifices. So yeah, that's why I do it all. Oh, I'm sorry that was so long. All good?
And remember to check out the full Kent Tonight special at 7 o'clock right here on KMTV, so just after the show really. Now it's time to take a quick look at the sports news from across the county.
Beginning with football, Gillingham's Bradley Dack has been nominated for the Sky Bet League 2 Player of the Month award. Dack's contribution to Gillingham at both ends of the pitch was distinguished, as across 4 games he scored twice and successfully made 2 goal line clearances. Following the goalless draw at Colchester, fellow midfielder Ethan Coleman praised him as very experienced and very good technically with the ball. Dack's in the running for the monthly award alongside Walsall's midfielder Ryan Finnegan, Bromley's defender Omar Sawunmi and Tranmere's midfielder Charlie Whittaker. Maidstone United are set to pay tribute to a Charlton Athletic fan who died after being taken ill at a game when they host the Addicts under-21s in Kent Senior Club quarterfinals. The Stones plan to hold a minute's applause in memory of Charlton Athletic supporter Norman Barker. Barker attended his first Addicts game after moving to the area in 1968, travelling to games both home and away for decades, before being taken ill early on in Charlton's championship game against Portsmouth on Saturday. Meanwhile in rugby, Medway's Rugby Club have awarded contracts to members of their women's first team for the first time. Aiming to strengthen their commitment to women's rugby, the club has set up a pilot programme which enables Erlis Westbrook, Stephanie Rukin and Laura Charter to become the first 3 women players at the club to be offered playing contracts. Club Chair Tracy Bullock said that the Medway RFC is proud to lead the way in creating an environment where enjoyment comes first, talent thrives, ambition is rewarded, and equality is the norm. And lastly, in motorsport, Lyddon Legends Festival organisers confirmed that their biennial celebration of Rallycross will run from June 12th to the 14th next year. Founded by Pat Doran and first held in Kent in 2024, the festival is a celebration of the exciting history of rallycross and rally machinery. It was originally slated for a July 2026 slot at the iconic Lyddon Hill, but the recent reveal of international sporting calendars has pushed organisers to find an alternative date to host. Elaborating on the decision, Doran said that the team had put a huge effort into committing to a date early that we thought worked for everybody, but as calendars and other events have come out, we felt that we had no choice but to adapt to the situation. This is Daniel Ward, KMTV.
Some great pictures there, but now don't forget you can keep up to date with all our latest stories across Kent by logging on to our website kmtv.co.uk. There you'll find all our reports, including this one.
And I have one deeply theological word to share with you right at the start. Wow.
The words of the Bishop of Rochester, echoing the feelings of a room that made a multi-million-pound Medway restoration project possible. St John's Chatham was built to commemorate the Battle of Waterloo back in the 1800s. But by the 90s, the building had fallen into disrepair, left to rot just off Chatham High Street, in an area of high demand for affordable housing.
What we really were lacking was a place of art for Chatham. A place that people of Chatham have loved, have been married in, had their funerals in, had parties in. It's got so much history and so much meaning for so many people that it would be wrong if we had turned it into flats. And frankly, when we asked people what they wanted us to do with it, they said we'd like it to be a church. And that's what we've done.
Work to bring the building back to life began in 2017, with organisations like the Heritage Fund and Medway Council pulling together to bring a community asset back to life.
This wasn't one organisation, it was a partnership approach. It really was a one Medway approach to bring forward something which again is magnificent and really does inspire people. 200 years ago, it was the first public building to get electricity, and now it's shining as an actual beacon of hope 200 years later for the people of Medway.
St John's is an expensive capital project, costing £4 million. Is this really the best use of that cash.
Now on Sunday mornings we're regularly over 100 people. Whether that's value for money, I don't really know, but the truth is that the reach of this place beyond those that might be coming in here to worship, actually the difference that it's made in individuals' lives, the difference that it's made for families who are really struggling with their children. 80 or so people that we've had come through our community football project, many of whom were vulnerably housed or at risk of addiction. So it's really hard to quantify, but we know that we're just at the beginning of a story where ultimately we will see far more than just value for money through what's been invested in this place.
There you have it. Perhaps you can't put a price tag on history, especially if that history is now set to help people into the future for years to come. Ollie Leader in Chatham.
Now it's time to take a look at the weather for the coming days. Starting your day, we're seeing partly cloudy skies across the region with temperatures ranging from 11 to 13 there over in Dover. Wind speeds just below what it was tomorrow morning, 10 and 13 degrees across the county. Wind speeds or temperatures ranging from 11 to 12 and then staying at 12, rising to 13 over in Dover there into the PM. Thursday we have cloudy skies, 11 degrees. Friday going up to 12 degrees and then Saturday staying the same as it is on Friday. And time for another quick break coming up. But we will be having another look at the vape story that was done by Maisie Walker. And earlier as well, we interviewed Tudor Price of Kent Invicta Chamber of Commerce, discussing the impact of AI reliance that it's having on Christmas shopping around the county, or people creating their shopping lists using AI. We'll be discovering that in just a few minutes. See you then. Hello and welcome back to Kent Tonight live on KMTV. I'm Kristen Hawthorne and here are your top stories on Tuesday the 9th of December. Up in smoke, how one misplaced vape battery can ignite a much bigger problem. That's Not Me, with AI's influence on social media era, how can you find fact from fiction? And Caring This Christmas, where we talk to Maidstone street pastors delivering Christmas joy and essential donations. But our top story this evening, vape shops across Kent are ignoring rules requiring them to provide safe disposal services as concerns grow over the batteries causing fires. An investigation has found that many stores are failing to provide a take-back scheme. Across Maidstone, Rochester, Gravesend, Tunbridge, Canterbury and Dartford, only 5 out of the 30 retailers inspected agreed to accept used vapes or batteries. Maisie Walker has more.
Shops in Kent are ignoring rules requiring them to provide safe disposal services as concerns grow over the batteries causing fires.
Inside a vape such as this one is a lithium battery, and if this is not recycled properly, it does pose the hazard of setting alight.
Experts from Material Focus, a not-for-profit organisation focused on electrical waste, estimate that roughly 10 million vapes were thrown away in Kent in 2024.
The whole risk kicks in when they go to the wrong place, which is into bins, so bins at home, public bins, sometimes incorrectly recycled with other recycling. So people think that they're doing the right thing, but in fact they're putting something that ends up being dangerous, because if it goes onto a waste truck or it's handled at a waste site and people aren't planning for vapes to be in there, then it's very likely that it will be compacted. And when it's compacted, it could break the shell, and that's when the problems come. So when the lithium cell is sort of damaged, it comes in contact with air or water, it can flame.
Across Maidstone, Rochester, Gravesend, Tunbridge, Canterbury and Dartford, only 5 out of the 30 retailers inspected agreed to accept used batteries or vapes. Many said they did not have to take returns, and when asked why, wrongly claimed they did not have to. In line with regulations, V&M Mobile and VX Exchange in Maidstone were one of the few stores to accept used batteries. I spoke to some local residents to find out whether there should be more awareness around the restrictions and how often they recycle.
As much as I can, yeah. You know, there is some occasions where, you know, I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere and have to just find the nearest kind of bin or whatever, but I do as much as I can.
It should just be banned. It should just be banned. It's just littering everywhere and, as I say, causing hazardous things. It's just not good, not good.
Because it's good to make the public aware about it so they can keep everyone safe, even those who vape about.
A spokesperson from Maidstone Borough Council said lithium batteries in waste bins create a serious fire and safety risk. Retailers selling vapes should have a provision for taking back used items, and the Kent County Council Household Waste Recycling Centres will be able to accept these items free of charge. Like all batteries, lithium ones can be a fire risk if they're damaged or thrown away with general waste. Mark Goslin from Kent Fire and Rescue Service said, "It is advised for everyone to recycle them properly at designated collection points rather than putting them in the bin. It's important to remember that once a lithium battery hits the bin, the danger doesn't disappear, it just begins somewhere else." Maisie Walker for KMTV, Maidstone.
And Maisie Walker joins me now to tell us more. So can you tell me what was found from the investigation?
Yeah, so Kent Online found that many stores are not only failing to provide a take-back scheme, but some are actively promoting the dangerous practice of throwing them in the bin alongside general waste. And this comes after a UK waste company, Bifta, reporting that battery-related fires now account for nearly half of all their incidents at its recycling centres nationwide, with vapes being the biggest cause. To assess how effectively the take-back scheme is being implemented, Kent Online visited various shops throughout Kent, and out of 30 retailers that were approached, only 5 agreed to accept used vapes or batteries. Some staff even advised the reporter to chuck the batteries in the bin, as everyone does it, and claimed that no one checks. And in Rochester, The reporter was told that they would need to travel to Chatham in order to recycle them. And in fact, we do have a statement from Medway Council here saying that you know, they provide several safe recycling options for batteries, including our 3 household waste recycling centres and local libraries. Vapes can currently be recycled at our 3 household waste recycling centres, but a growing number of retailers now offer take-back services in Medway. In their statement, they also shared a reminder not to dispose of these batteries or vapes in general rubbish bins or alongside other recyclable items, such as cardboard, metals and plastics, as they pose a serious fire risk.
And you were actually speaking to somebody about this as well?
Yeah, so I spoke to Scott Butler, Executive Director of Material Focus, who can explain a little more in detail about these issues surrounding batteries and why they shouldn't be underestimated.
The challenges around dealing with lithium-ion batteries, vapes are huge. They cannot be underestimated. We've got more and more portable tech. You think about earpods and mini fans and other things that you carry around with you, and more people are carrying around. And they're all charged by lithium-ion batteries. And they're of a size, they're of a price that people might think that they're throwaway. And that means we've now got hundreds of millions of potential fire risks.
Now, if a shop does refuse to take back a used vape or tell its customers to put one in a household bin, customers are advised to contact the Office of Product Safety and Standards.
All right, thank you, Maisie. Now, Kent County Council is consulting on plans to install ANPR cameras at 12 yellow box junctions across the county in a bid to stop drivers blocking them and causing congestion. 6 sites are proposed in Maidstone, with others in Ashford, Canterbury, Dover, Thanet and the Dartford crossing. Offenders could face £70 fines. KCC says police no longer have resources for routine enforcement, making cameras a more effective alternative. If approved, installation would begin in spring 2026 and the consultation would run until February 3rd the same year. And Estuary View Medical Centre in Whitstable has introduced a £1 parking charge to help fund its new £1.25 million car park after losing access to its former 90 free spaces. The fee, covering 4 hours, began on December 1st and is described by the practice as essential to repay the costs of buying the land. While some patients criticise the move, bosses say they choose the lowest charge possible and note that misuse of the car park by non-patients had increased. Parking remains free for blue badge holders and frequent attenders, and a 10-minute drop-off grace period is in place. And earlier we spoke to Tudor Price about the impact of AI on Christmas shopping. All right, Tudor, thanks so much for joining us today. First of all, how are people using AI this Christmas?
Well, it's been amazing, actually, to see how many people are really embracing some of those platforms. The more obvious ones like ChatGPT and Copilot, etc. That's helping, I think, a lot of people in terms of sort of formulate their Christmas gifts and ideas. But we're also seeing it being used for Christmas quizzes, of course, and a range of other sort of Christmas festive actions. But interestingly, it's also being used in industry quite a lot now with logistics and planning. So, and actually moving all of those FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods in and around Europe and around the world. Logistics, AI is playing a huge part. So it's integrating into all aspects of our festive joy.
Yeah, they'll kind of help each other, maybe. In terms of the shopping, though, do you think that it's transforming, AI is transforming shopping in general, not just at Christmas time?
That's a good question. I think it's probably still too early to tell at the moment. So what we're seeing is a lot of retailers are utilising it to provide a better level of service, to provide greater levels of automation. And of course, sometimes when you're struggling to recruit or find the right sort of staffing levels to meet the Christmas rush, there's always a sudden uptick in sort of retail, leisure and hospitality. Actually, AI can play a big part in actually helping improve the customer experience. So we're seeing it, as I said, sort of integrate into all aspects of our lives here. And again, for this particular time of year, where there's tasks that are repetitive and sort of can be predictable, then actually AI plays a huge part. So yeah, I think we'll see more of it, perhaps not quite so obvious, but it's certainly working in the background in terms of our Christmas experience.
And I also wanted to ask you about your opinion on the kind of Netflix wanting to buy Warner Bros. And now Paramount have come in and sort of they've put a bid against that. What's your opinion on that, and what does it mean for the streaming service?
Well, the challenge here really is about monopoly, and in the UK, of course, we have the Competition and Markets Authority (CMA). Their job is to sort of make sure that there is freedom of choice and fair competition for all businesses, but more importantly, it protects the consumer from sort of monopolistic behaviour. Because this is all taking place, of course, over in the States, as we know, things are a little bit topsy-turvy over there right now, so we're never quite sure how things are going to play out. What would it mean for the consumer? I worry a little bit that if all of that control and production capacity is in the hands of too few people, I think the consumer is at risk there of being held to ransom over access to certain things. We've seen it grow over a period of time. If you look back to some of the sports coverage with Sky Sports and how that dominated the scene, and very quickly you couldn't watch any sort of sporting event without having to pay a fairly hefty subscription. There was some intervention there, market regulation took place. Now, of course, this is taking place, as I say, in the States, so whether we'll have that same level of intervention and influence, I don't know. But I think that's probably where we're a little bit more concerned and how that plays out.
And I mean, will it increase the price of the membership for each of those streaming services that maybe take on Warner Brothers?
Well, potentially, yes, because, of course, as a consumer, what are you going to do if that's the only show in town? You either buy it or leave it. There will be also some knock-on effect potentially to the creative industries that operate here in the UK. In Kent in particular, we have a tremendous sort of creative sector around broadcast and technology. So we're worried again that if you have that power in the hands of too few people, then potentially, then the market gets distorted and it's not necessarily a good opportunity for some of the creative industries as well.
All right, very interesting conversation, Tudor. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Time for a quick break now, but we'll be back in a few minutes with more. See you then. Hello and welcome back to Kent Tonight Live here on KMTV. Now, Kent skies have been taken over by bizarre beams of light. For over a week, residents of Kent have been perplexed by mysterious searchlights that sweep over the Kent skies. The dazzling lights were even reported to have been seen all the way in France. However, the source has now been revealed as Port Lymph Wild Animal Park and their 1.6-kilometre festive light trail. The trail includes a water show, a starlight tunnel and a fairy disco where visitors of the zoo can dance to music and enjoy some festive food. You can go and see the lights for yourself at Port Lymph until January 3rd, as well as many other festive lights events happening across the county at Leeds Castle, Bredgebury National Pinetum and Forest, and Hever Castle and Scotney Castle as well. And Michelin-listed restaurant Angela's in Margate is expanding into the neighbouring cafe G site, which closes on New Year's Eve. The fish-focused venue, praised for its local and sustainable ethos, will move into the larger space in March 2026. However, its popular sister spot, Dory's, known for raw and cured seafood, will close by the end of March. Owners say Dory's dishes will live on in the expanded restaurant and promise more developments to come. Customers have reacted with both excitement and disappointment at the changes. But now don't forget you can keep up to date with all our latest stories across Kent by logging onto our website kmtv.co.uk. There you can find all the reports, including this one.
December and the hunt for Christmas presents is finally on. But for many across Maidstone, it's impossible to find gifts whilst making ends meet. That's where Maidstone Borough Council's Christmas Hub comes in. This scheme, which has been running for the past 3 years now, allows Maidstone residents to donate a variety of items from food, toys and games towards charities across the town to give those who are struggling this Christmas.
For some of them, Christmas can be a really lonely time. Knowing that people in their community have thought about them and have donated these wonderful gifts is really humbling. And on Christmas Day, when they open a gift and they know that somebody that they don't know personally has taken time to buy that for them and it's then been wrapped, a label put on with their name, is really lovely. And it shows them that they're not forgotten.
Unlike some of the other charities here, we're after really specific things. Things like instant hot foods that we use for our street population. A lot of us are taken into Christmas dinners and things. Some of our street population don't have anything. So when we're out on a Saturday night, we can help them with instant hot food.
Although donations have decreased significantly compared to previous years, the Borough Council remains confident that it can still make a positive impact in the community.
Well, they might be a bit low at the moment. You probably saw the street pastors on the first day didn't have nothing, but the next day they had £1,000 worth of stuff come in. So it's a day by day. It can't really judge it till it's finished, but in my personal view, people of Maidstone are very generous, and when we look back on this, probably in the new year, you'll find that Maidstone contributed quite a lot to the happiness of people at Maidstone.
The hub will be open until Saturday, the 6th of December. With the big day fast approaching, many are hoping for a miracle on Maidstone Street. Henry Luck for KMTV in Maidstone.
And Nigel Downs from the Street Pastors, who you just saw there, joins us now to tell us more about those donations. Hello, Nigel.
Hi, good evening. Nice to see you.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Now, I believe you've helped the appeal before, but can you tell us about when the Street Pastors first got involved?
Yeah, I think as Henry said, it was 3 years ago that the Maidstone Mall started doing this, and we got involved then. And I would just like to point out, yes, the donations were down, but that's because this year the hub was only open for 2 weeks, whereas previously it's been open for about 4 weeks. So there's been sort of less time to get stuff in.
And I mean, what was it like in comparison to last year? Obviously, it was open for a shorter amount of time, but you did receive a lot of donations in the end. I mean, sure, maybe you didn't expect that amount.
Yeah, it's really humbling to see people coming in, not just with one gift, but with several gifts. We were quite specific in what we need or what we was asking for, because of people that we deal with in town on a Saturday night. You saw there things like the hot snacks, the street population that we meet. We give them those pot noodles or cuppa soups and things to help them. But alternatively, with the nighttime economy, with the people that we meet that are out drinking, clubbing, we have things like bottled water and sick bags to help freshen them up if they've been a little bit unwell, if they've overindulged.
And why are the donations so important, particularly at this time of year?
Well, for us, for all charities, it's really hard at the moment, and it's really, I say, humbling that people do give their time and their money to help us. I must have had, I don't know, 200-300 pot noodles and cuppa soups come in, and 50 odd bottles of water, and I say those things that we use when we're out in town every Saturday night. So to us, it's really beneficial.
And tell us about the origins of the street pastors and how did it start? And I mean, was this always the intention to kind of hand out these kinds of things to those vulnerable people?
Yeah, Street Pastors itself has been running for almost 20 years now. And Maidstone was actually the first town in Kent back in 2008 to have Street Pastors. And here we are still going. Quite sort of jokingly, people often say, "Oh yeah, you're those people that give out those flip-flops, aren't you?" Yeah, we do, because if ladies have lost their shoes or can't walk, we don't want them walking about in town barefoot, because there's broken glass, there's bodily fluids. So yeah, that's what we're sort of quite well known for, and we are there just to look after the nighttime economy. Not stopping people having fun. We want people to have fun, but we try to make sure they do it in a safe way. And if they need help from us, then we'll be there for them.
Of course, and obviously it's very important that you are there to support those people who need your help at the time. And although the donation hub is now over, people can still donate to your page directly. Is that correct?
Yes, I mean, like most places, we have a website where donations can be made, either goods or monies. All charities, we're really struggling now. But yes, if people want to help, they certainly can, and we'd appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Nigel. Best of luck for the Christmas period. Now, time for the weather. Sorry about that. We'll get to the weather in just a second. I think we'll see. I mean, if you're out tonight, hopefully it's not too cold, because you might be needing those flip-flops if you've lost your heels. Here's the weather. Let's see. Starting your day then, we'll be seeing partly cloudy skies across the region, with temperatures ranging from 11 to 13 degrees across the county. In tomorrow morning then we'll have a range of 11 to 13 then across the county again. Cloudy skies though, clear skies though into the afternoon, mostly 12 degrees, although 13 there over in Dover, low wind speeds. Thursday we've got 11 degrees, Friday 12 degrees and 12 again on Saturday. Cloudy skies the whole way through. Where are we? Here. Now, after the break, there'll be a new episode of News Nuggets covering important topics all across Kent for primary school children. News Nuggets tackles stories about local politics and democracy and allows our younger generation to explore the importance of our local area. Take a look.
This week we'll be learning about history. It's all around us. Kent is packed full of it. Let's look at some of the key moments. All the way back in 43 AD, the Romans landed in Kent, then made Rochester one of the most important towns by building a bridge that linked the coast to London. The castle was built to protect Medway and Kent because of all the rivers we have, which put us at risk of invasion.
I recognise that name.
That's the Great Lines.
Yeah, it's right behind us, isn't it?
So everybody, we're here today to talk all about history, but in particular, Medway's history.
There seem to be lots of buildings in a square shape and underneath it says school. I wonder what school that is.
So what is it we're actually digging here?
So we're learning all about how humans lived, but there's another type of digging which is all about dinosaurs.
If we find dinosaurs, we've gone too far. The people that look after dinosaurs or look for dinosaurs are paleontologists.
Shakespeare was inspired by Kent and Christopher Marlowe was born and raised in Kent. They both wrote famous plays for the theatre. We've invited Yenny, who's part of the Medway African and Caribbean Association, or MACA, to our studio today, as well as Kate.
Well, I don't think that Black History Month should just be a month. I think we should learn black history, we should learn female history. How many great women are there? It's not just about Winston Churchill and Lord Nelson.
When did the Windrush generation come to the UK and Kent?
I believe that was in the 40s.
Yes.